Hello and welcome to yet another Saturday with us here at Enterprise TV. This is Enterprise with Ken. I'm Chinya Igwe.
And I can
That's right, you can follow us on all our social media handles showing on your screen. In our main conversation today, Nigerians may be facing an increase in the cost of telecom services as operators in the sector, including NTA Nigeria and Globacom, have sought the federal government's approval to raise tariffs.
yes, the movement came after foreign exchange losses and rising energy costs because some of the operators took losses last year.
The Telcos proposal to raise their tariff came barely 24 hours after MultiChoice, a South African paid television company, raised its tariff. Several companies, including disco and brewing companies, have also raised their prices in recent times.
On Thursday, particularly, they issued a joint statement of the agents of the Association of Licensed Telecom Companies of Nigeria and the Association of Telecom Companies of Nigeria asking the government to expedite the approval.
The further explained that despite the adverse economic headwinds, the telecommunications industry remains the only industry yet to review its general service pricing framework upward in the last 11 years, primarily due to regulatory constraints. To do justice to the subject under review this morning is a man I love to call a custodian of nows and intellectual rigor. He's no other than Barrister Evan Tukeli.
Good morning.
Thank you.
Morning, thank you.
Thank you, Barrister.
Yeah.
Some people have referred to the clarion call from the telcos as crass or thoughtless. Well, I mean, they contribute 16% to our national GDP. For the past, say, 13 years of operation in Nigeria, they haven't increased or asked for an accelerated ante in their costs. Now, some of the factors that they have fingered to be why they are now, making this call, asking the regulatory bodies to allow, them to operate independently is one, whimsical taxation, labyrinth marketing forces, amongst other reasons. Do you think they are well within their rights to be asking for what they're asking for, especially considering subsistent realities that Nigerians are faced with?
Well, in a way, there's a sense in which their proposal, is not unreasonable.
Right.
It's not unreasonable because the cost of living, the cost of things have actually gone high, okay? And as such, they should be allowed to do an increment, but not unguarded. Because one of the things about corporate organization is that by the time you open the floodgates for them the regulatory authorities open the floodgate for them to make increase, they'll begin to make unreasonable increase. So the increase must be defined, what percent, and we must look at the total cost of operation. Okay, what was it before? What is it now? What is the margin that has been added now to the cost of production and operation that now warrants an increase, and how much should be this increase? If the regulatory authority does not pin it down practically, and you allow them to just make an increase at will, they will go overboard. Okay, so there is a need to monitor whatever it is they want to increase, because even the 11 years they talk about, they've not increased in the past 11 years. They did not tell us how much profit they have also made in the last 11 years. Which actually, telecommunication, calls, internet facility, internet provider and all that is very expensive in Nigeria. It's too expensive. We travel abroad. It's too expensive and it's not even effective. So they are going to increase. Are they going to increase the capacity, the bandwidth, the whatever, all the efficiency together with the increase? Or what they are looking at is just to increase tariff. So increase tariff, fine. Increase productivity and service delivery together with it. So they should not be allowed to just increase tariff. It should come with, efficiency. And that efficiency is what the public want to consume. And when they have that, they will pay the necessary tariff. That is what it is.
All right, considering efficiency, you've said it separately on this platform, how that when you compare the services of telecom companies, especially with regards to bank transfer, financial transfer. When you do a transfer in less than a few seconds, it gets to the recipient. But in the United States, for example, it takes like about 24 hours or thereabout. Now, considering the 11 plus months of this administration, there are positive economic hallucinatory effects. It's quite unfortunate and grotesque. But I want us to see this from another prism. While so many would say the inflation is generally considered harmful, some economists believe that a small amount of inflation can help drive economic growth. Talking about telecommunication and to create investors' confidence in the sector, don't you think this is necessary at this point?
Yes, I didn't say it's not necessary from the outset. I said it is important that they increase, given the reality of today. The cost of living, the cost of things have gone higher. These telecommunication companies, they use diesel to operate, okay? And we know what the cost is now, okay? They use all the facilities that have gone high now to operate. So there's a need for them to increase. But what I'm saying, I'm not saying they should not increase. I'm not saying they should not increase investors' confidence in the country. What I'm saying is that the increment must be guarded, must be monitored, must be commensurate with the margin of increment in the facilities they use to operate, so that you don't just say, okay, since things have changed, things are cost, okay, go and increase. You can't do it that way. And that's why we have regulation. Regulation will look at the margin. Okay, what is acceptable within the context of what is of international best practice. You know, communication itself is actually human rights. Do you understand? It's human rights, freedom of speech. But because those who operate the services have to make profit because of, they have to make profit. The profit should be within human face.
The profit should be in human face.
Yes, it shouldn't be such that people are not able to communicate any longer. Just because there's a human right face to whatever I'm saying. And that must be factored in. So you don't allow people to just go and increase price the way they like. If you do that, they're going to take off telecommunication from we'll go back to where we're coming from. It used to be an elitist thing. You understand? When they were using that time, just few people that had it. And those few people only call themselves. You understand? The elites. So we shouldn't go back there. Now that there's proper democracy on the communication issue, everybody now have it. The increment should not go overboard.
All right. Thank you so much, Professor Evans. I'd love for you to give this a bird's eye view. I like that you are sort of underpinning what the Telcos are asking for, looking at various factors that may mitigate getting the return on investment. But let's talk about the impact. Give us an unfettered review on the impact of this on the common man. I mean, fuel subsidy has been, fuel will be subsidized. Even power sector also, we've seen that also reflected there. What do you think this will, do in the short, long term to the ordinary man?
Well, it's going to impact heavily on the ordinary man because virtually all of us have cell phones and all that, and we need airtime to have to operate it. We need data to operate the internet and all that. So, and today it's like something that is inevitable. It's like we cannot do without it. If you don't have data on your phone, it looks like your phone is a toy today, even though we're not born with phones. But because the world has so advanced in such a way that you must plug in, you must be on this radar. So it's going to impact heavily on it. That is the consequence of taking decision impulsively. When you take decision on this call, you think it's only this call that you affect. You don't think things through. That is the effect when you have bad leaders. You have a leader that is intellectually stagnated. These decisions will affect. You see, the truth is that it's going to so affect the common man to the point where it will cost him a ration of what he would have used to feed the family to make sure he's up to date. And that is not good enough for our society. There is no subsidy on telecom. The federal government is not paying any subsidy. on it.
It's highly due.
Yes, they are not paying any subsidy on it. So now it's going to affect a lot of people, and it's not very good.
All right, so let's take a look at leadership, like you did mention. The administration of President Muhammad Buhari in the last 8 years, of course, took the dollar from 200 to 750 naira, and the Minister of Digital Economy, Isa Pantami, the former Minister of Communication and Digital Economy, said he kicked against more than 15 attempts to increase the price of telecom services within 3 years. What do you think, if we compare, what we have currently with the administration we have? Adelabu, the Minister of Power, is working sympathically to whatever, third-party service providers are saying with the increase in services for power. Why do you think it won't have a repeat of same thing with Adelabu also happening with the Minister of Communication with this current administration? Of course, knowing that Isa Pantami and the last administration kicked against it 15 times to the benefit of Nigerians.
Well, the truth is that what we're analyzing this morning is a proposal. Not like they have increased it. You understand? They've not increased it, but it's a proposal for increase. Talking about the reality and all that. Well, Isa Pantami as a minister, kicking against the increment at the time can be well explained to the extent that the cost of things were not this high at that time. So it was not even justified in the first place. It was not justified. They were pushing for it on the basis of what? The issues at hand then were different from the issues at hand now. That time there was a clear-cut policy on payment of subsidy, and the goods and services hadn't risen to this level. The fuel, the PMS, the diesel hadn't risen to this level and all that. So if they had made attempts, and those attempts were turned down, they were rightly and justly turned down. Okay, but right now there's a need to consider what they are saying. Like I said before, but it must be guarded. Yes, because of abuse of privilege. Okay, so that privilege could be abused, and that's what I'm saying. Whether you have a minister that is tough enough or weak enough, the minister cannot also approve without the Federal Executive Council that kind of policy. So it must come to the Federal Executive Council, and the Federal Executive Council, they can even turn down. There's a kind of contract you cannot even award as a minister without submitting it to the level of, there's a threshold in terms of funds that you cannot award unless and until you have submitted it to Federal Executive Council.
Right.
You understand? So that is well taken care of.
Right. Thank you so much, Dr. Evans. Before we wrap up, let's look at one of the worries of the telcos. 46 different tariffs and taxes is what they are being taxed with, from the state to local government and the federal government also. Do you think if this is attended to, it might make them rescind on the proposed decision to raise the ante of the cost?
Those taxes are statutory. Those tax, company income tax, for example, is statutory. Okay? The other tax that has to do with telecommunication and all the other taxes are statutory. Why? Because as you are operating, you are degrading the environment. You have to pay tax for it.
46 different taxes?
Yeah, I don't think it's up to 46.
I mean, this is so
okay. They will say, okay, well, if it's, I don't know the respective tax that accrue to them. You understand? I'm a tax consultant, so I know what it is they are talking about. The ones that are very critical are the telecommunication tax, the company income tax, then the personal income tax for those who, as individuals and all that. Then other tax and levies. Some of this tax is not directly the federal government. Some tax are contrived in the places where they operate. If you have facilities in the local government area. For example, certain tax levy will apply to you. If you have facilities, to apply to you. So you are saying if the federal government give them a tax holiday on those varying issues, perhaps it could stabilize group. They could keep the price where it is. Of course, that is the idea. In most cases, in some circumstances, the federal government give tax holiday. Now, if you look at the expressway, this expressway, Lagos Ibadan expressway, the part that Dangote built, okay, all the way from Elasa down to 7 up here, was built by a company, and there was tax holiday for Dangote for that stretch for a number of years and all of that. So the federal government should apply that when necessary. Okay, but that is not even part of their proposal. I mean, coming from the Telcos, but it's a proposal that the federal government will also make a counter proposal. You understand? So they should push for it. Of course, there are other alternatives. Tax holiday is even a better deal for them because they spend a lot on taxation. But everywhere in the world where you operate business, in fact, we are not even strict enough in tax collection in Nigeria. Yeah, no, we are not strict. In the UK, they say there are two things is permanent in life: life itself and tax. They put tax where human life is at the same classification. You understand? In France, for example, you pay 40% tax. You understand? There's a restaurant in France where you walk into the restaurant, it is written there that eat whatever you want to eat, your forefathers have paid for it. That's as you walk in. Then when you are done with whatever you want to eat, you don't have to pay. So, but on your way out, it is written there, pay for the generation coming. The one that you ate, your forefathers paid for it. This one that you are living, you need to put down money for those coming. That is why in France, it is free education to master's degree level. So if you have a job, you know that if your salary, for example, is 200,000, you know that 40% of that money is going back to the government. In the island, Republic of Ireland, 26% of tax. And when you come out on the streets, you come out anywhere, you will see the impact of that. You will be happy you are paying tax. You understand? So they pay that high, but they use it. You understand? And they are very strict with it because even Nigeria will get to that level. You can't develop any country without tax. Just forget about it. As it is now, we are not. If I ask all of us here, when was the last time you paid your personal income tax? You see, you don't even have the card, you don't even know how to go about it. Every citizen is supposed to pay tax. And they are taught there, then in the UK, you know that you are supposed to pay tax. That is why the country is where it is. Okay, so we are not strict enough even on taxation if we want to go there. But the federal government, give tax holidays in certain areas to enable them stabilize if they have to leave the price where it is. But in my own view, we must not be unreasonable. If price of things have increased, these are the investors here. These investors, huge employment index of our people. You understand? Whatever it is we can do to keep them in business here, we must do it. To keep families together and all that.
Thank you so much.
Right, so while we get ready to postpone, I want to ask you this very important question. Considering the price rift between telcos and the government, there's one very important element that is missing in the picture, and that's the Consumer Protection Council.
Yes.
At what point do you think this can come in the overall discourse? Because whatever it is, the federal government and telcos end up, it falls down on Nigeria.
Yes.
So where do you think the Consumer Protection Council can come in?
The Consumer Protection Council is in the mix. There's no decision they will take without the DG, NCC, and the Consumer Protection. These are all stakeholders. You can't take a decision without stakeholders. You are pushing for anarchy. Okay, this proposal now, they are going to convey meetings where these issues will be dealt with. You understand? Where they will do the workings, the the workings to show whatever it is if you have to increase, okay, so that we know exactly where we're going. They are saying in the last 11 years they have not increased, but you also know that the federal government have done its own increase on VAT from 5% to 7.5%, which also has impacted on policies and the economy. So if they are going to increase, fine, let them do it within the context of the issues on ground, the reality, reflecting the reality. They should, because there's a way they will increase it to. It will not be the reality on ground. They talk about the reality, they should stick to the reality.
Thank you so much, Dr. Evans. Dr. Evans Ufeli, the numero uno in Paris, has been our guest today on the program. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much. Welcome.
We just hope that the NCC and Telcos will find a common ground, because at the end of the day, it's the same now with all parents that when two elephants fight, and the rest is well.
Very, very true. Especially when we make that skill particularly multi-choice. This is like this. It's the second or fourth time they've made an increase in their services, and I think it's equally very important for that particular space. The Nigerian government would open up the space for more stakeholders, people with skin in the game, take part, and possibly that might maybe bring down the prices of the services for Nigerians.
Absolutely, let's get moving. All right, that's the size of our package today. Thank you so much for watching. You can follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. And our website, www.enterprisetvnews.com. I'm Cheer. Enjoy the rest of from us.
Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.